A very good afternoon. Many thanks for staying with us here on TV47. Welcome to Newsfeed. My name is Mombi Chege. Now, Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi is currently at the Nakuru Law Court, where he has been arraigned to take plea over incitement charges. Sudi was arrested yesterday morning after he voluntarily presented himself at Langas police station. He was later flown to Nakuru by detectives for further interrogation, where he was also questioned by officers from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. A number of MPs allied to the Deputy President are in court to follow the proceedings.
That as we speak, Honorable Oscar Sudi is being held at this Central Police Station in Nakuru, awaiting to be arraigned in court. As of yesterday, when the charge and cautionary statement were read to our client, the probable charges would be hate speech and offensive conduct. Two charges actually of hate speech and offensive conduct. The charge sheet is being registered in court to get a case number, after which virtual hearing will proceed, and it will be done here at this particular police station. All we are saying, this is a court process which has just started in earnest, and we expect it to run to its completion before noon today, when we will know its outcome. As of now, we will urge Kenyans generally. I've seen there is quite a number of people outside this police station. Mine is to urge people to keep calm and allow this process to continue to its logical end, and justice will be served as we believe. Definitely, the probable charges are bailable, and we will be making very serious application that our client be admitted to bail.
Now, the decision to reopen schools will be announced after a stakeholders meeting expected to take place on or before 25th of this month. Now, Education CS Professor George Magoha says a consultative meeting that will be chaired by Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i and his health counterpart Mutahi Kagwe will discuss the matter as directed by the President. Professor Magoha spoke this morning after meeting stakeholders in the education sector amid confusion on the reopening dates.
As a specific education stakeholders to take stock of what is going on, and that taking of stock is premised on one thing, that even though we had said that schools shall reopen in January next year, the last statement read as follows, that I want to quote, and it is a shame that none of you ever remember this. Because decisions regarding the reopening of learning institutions may change as informed by reports obtained from the Ministry of Health, hereby represented by Dr. Mbajo, prevailing circumstances, and increased knowledge of COVID. At that time, we were spiking into between 4 to 6 to 700. I think the expert has told you what is happening, and therefore it is in good state for us this morning to have come to relook at this process with the facts available to us. And therefore we have looked at all aspects, starting from universities and tertiary colleges, TVETs and TTCs, secondary school sector, primary school sector, and the pre-primary school sector. And we, as stakeholders, have come to a consensus that indeed it is time to relook, because the doctor has told you the curve is flattening. I have said in the past that social distancing in our public schools is going to remain a challenge. I've also said that there are certain things we are doing about getting masks at the very worst for the vulnerable and the less fortunate children. All those processes are ongoing. And in order for us to prepare a presentation to present to the bigger stakeholders meeting, which will take place sometime next week, either before or on the 25th. We have decided to reactivate the smaller stakeholders group between now and Saturday to work on the finer details of proposals that shall be interrogated by this larger stakeholders group. And even at that time, if I succeed in getting backroom approval, then I will tell you what we have decided.
Now, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko will be required to take a plea again in a corruption case facing him. Justice Douglas Ogoti has ruled that the plea taking will proceed after Sonko's legal team opposed plea taking of new charges. Sonko's lawyers wanted the new abuse of office charge by the DPP to be dropped since the new charges has been filed at the High Court. Sonko, alongside Anthony Otieno alias Jamal and Roll Security Limited, are facing various charges including conflict of interest, acquisition of proceeds of crime of corruption, and abuse of office. They have pleaded not guilty. Now let's cross over to Milimani Law Courts and listen to that.
Just do it. Yes, yes, Miller.
Yes, Your Honor. The point you're making is that if you look at this order, and in particular, number 4 that my colleague is referring to, there is an issue relating for them to testify in a closed session.
Yes.
And that's a story that we're following up. We'll have all the details for you in our subsequent bulletins. Now, Senate's Joint Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights and the National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations has summoned the Inspector General of Police to answer to queries on the security details of Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala. Malala was emotional to explain his arrest to the committee. Senators have an enhancement of Malala's security details following the issue. Malala was dramatically arrested in his Nairobi home before being ferried to Kakamega.
Once I raised these issues and I wrote a letter to the Inspector General, copied it to the Cabinet. After they were given those the allowances, Mr. Speaker, traveled to Kakamega town. And they were hovering around Kakamega town, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, sorry, we have what we call the arms movement book. Surely, that I even sent the police a PIN number. Mr. Chair, I carry a heavy heart with me.
Now, Wiper Party is launching a membership recruitment and communication digital platform. A meeting is ongoing at the party offices here in Nairobi. This comes a day after a 2-day retreat at the Manzoni Resort, where the party resolved, among other issues, to traverse the entire country to popularize the BBI initiative. Let's cross over there and listen into that.
We have challenged our sitting MCAs, who today number of 100 of them, members of County Assembly, 129 of them. Each one of you opening an office within the next 3 months and getting members of NEC to come and commission and open these offices will send the right signals. This is a national movement. We took the decision to rebrand Wiper, including thinking of changing the name. Because there's those who say, how do you have a party whose symbol is a body part of a vehicle? But it has become a household name. We are going to change even our colors. We are rebranding in order to make it easy for every Kenyan to feel, as Senator Junior said, this is not a Mkamba party. We left that story a long time ago. This is a national movement, ready and willing and able to liberate Kenya in real terms. So, kwa hivyo, Hilda, you hear from us, wherever you are in Brussels, tell the Europeans and all our friends worldwide that watch this space. Safari hii hatubahatishi. Hatubahatishi, we are going straight to State House. Hakuna mchezo. But of course we welcome like-minded Kenyans. And it's not a joke. It is not wishful thinking. We have done it before. We have beaten the trail before. This time we know every loophole. We know every mistake we made. We are not making any more mistakes this time. We are not even taking prisoners, Hilda. I don't think your friend has become a warlord. We are not taking prisoners. Hakuna mambo ya kucheza tena. So wherever you are, be strong. I didn't want to say much. I think I've made it clear. Rebranding, hitting the road, registering members. Futuristic, thank you so much, Bwana Kikuvi, for what you've done. It's taken us a while. We want to hit, within the next few months, 1 million membership. I'm happy that my own Twitter handle is already over 1 million. And we are moving. We are moving. We are moving very, very hard. Kwa hivyo, back to you so that we can do the launch. We are ready. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am now happy, let's be upstanding, and I want to declare that Wiper Democratic Movement digital platform on membership, recruitment, and all else is officially launched. Do I hear a clap? Wiper! Thank you.
Now, Garissa Governor Ali Kurain and 4 county officials are being grilled by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC detectives over the alleged misappropriation of 233.6 million shillings. This follows the DPP's move to approve charges against the 5 last week following investigations into the use of the funds that were part of a grant from World Bank. Now, he's accused alongside the county's Chief of Finance, Ibrahim Nur Malo, Head of Treasury, Mohammed Ahmed Abdullahi, County Executive Officer, Municipality, Abdi Shaleh, and Head of Accounting at the Municipal, Ahmed Abdullahi Aden. Now, they are accused of conspiracy to commit an offense, willful failure to comply with the law relating to the management of public funds, misappropriation of public funds under Public Finance Management Act 2012, and abuse of office. Away from graft charges, the business fraternity in Nakuru is urging the political class to unite in finding ways of jump-starting the economy that has slumped due to the coronavirus pandemic, instead of bickering and arousing fear among citizens. Now, they expressed concerns, saying the ongoing sentiments by a section of political leaders are raising tension in a country already overburdened by COVID-19.
Speaking in Njoro, the businessmen led by Kinyanjui Mwamba accused politicians of violating the country's priorities at the expense of average citizens, who he said bore the brunt of the plague. They further urged the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, to crack its whip on fearmongers in the spirit of safeguarding the country's peace.
Tofauti za kisiasa ndio utamu wa siasa, na ni vizuri, lazima tuwe na tofauti, na haya mambo huwa ya kawaida. Na hiyo ndio changamoto ya siasa, lakini ikifika kwa matusi inakuwa ni vigumu sana.
Njoro Ward Representative Zakaria Kahero called upon politicians to lead by example by charting courses that alleviate suffering in the electorate by providing practical and sustainable solutions to local problems. His sentiments were echoed by Rehema Njeri, who urged President Uhuru Kenyatta to seek more ways of helping small business people kickstart their enterprises that have been stalled by the pandemic.
Tayari tuko kwenye janga, na tungeomba wanasiasa kwamba wale ambao wanazungumza maneno hayo ambayo yanaleta taharuki wasikaingishe Kenya hii kwenye janga lingine, kwa sababu leo hii hilo janga ambalo tuko ndani yake bado limeshinda hata madaktari kukabiliana nalo.
Mwelekeo ambao wanasiasa wanachukua wakati huu ni mwelekeo ambao si mwelekeo mzuri, kwa sababu tunalea watoto wetu katika kuonyesha maadili, lakini imekuwa ya kwamba siku hizi heshima zimeisha, inaingia kwamba siasa inaingia paka tunaingiza wazazi wetu ambao wametuzaa.
They spoke against the background of arrest and arraignment of Kapseret and Emurua Dikir lawmakers Oscar Sudi and Joanna Ngeno over incitement. Dennis Otieno, TV47.
Thank you, Dennis, for that report. Now, residents of Mwea Settlement Scheme are now calling for fresh, transparent issuance of title deeds. Now, the standoff has been a contentious issue for years. The distribution of the settlement scheme into 7,232 parcels started in 2013 and ended last year. In a consultative meeting held in Mbodoni area, Makema Ward in Berry South, led by area MCA, residents now want a fresh process, but on condition that residents in the area will be the first beneficiaries in the new process.
Ikiwezekana kesho asubuhi title deeds za kutoka pale Ngesha mpaka Karoko ziletwe kesho asubuhi, na yule atapata title ni yule anaishi kwa shamba. Na wakati huu hatutaki kuambiwa ati kuna education area, ati kuna scheme, ati kuna nini. Hao watu wote ni watu.
Kwa hivyo kama ni ya Karaba, Makema na wale, why don't we have a thorough screening? Watu wetu Makema huko Wachoro wamekufa wengine. Kina Mataka wamekufa because of depression. Mzee amekaa 40 years, asubuhi anaamuka anakuta shamba imefanywa nini?
Kwa hivyo usione kama uko na form kwa mfuko ufikirie ni kuzuri. Iko interference. Hata saa iko interference ya hiyo register.
Now, the race for the gubernatorial seat is fast taking shape in Trans Nzoia County, with contenders crisscrossing the region in a vote hunt mission ahead of the 2022 general elections. Kiminini Member of Parliament Dr. Chris Wamalwa has been forcing alliances with elders from the communities residing in the cosmopolitan county. Boniface Baraza reports from Trans Nzoia.
The event, which was held at the home of Ambassador Joseph Magut in Kwanza Sub-County, saw key speakers from Nandi Council of Elders Kwanza Sub-County, Colon Wamalwa, to form an inclusive government. In the event, he makes it in succeeding the incumbent governor, Patrick Haimba, in 2022 general elections.
Na tumekuja zaidi tuseme ya kwamba tutaunga mkono Bwana Chris Wamalwa, mbunge wa Kiminini. Hapa county ni watu wengi tuko hapa, ni mixture. Na tunataka peaceful coexistence mpaka mwaka zingine tuwe hatujui hata Mnandi ni nani, Muluya ni nani, tufanye politics ya umoja. Na hapo Trans Nzoia itasonga mbele.
Trans Nzoia County has been the talk of the town, so to speak, and has lacked in many aspects. And so we need a total transformation. We need an economic Marshall Plan for Trans Nzoia. We need to re-engineer the politics of Trans Nzoia. And the person that we have in mind who is going to offer that solution is Chris Wamalwa. And so as a Kalenjin nation, we're coming together to give him a hand and a backing in his journey.
The legislator assured the community of his determination to craft a working formula that will see his government agenda roll out across the 25 wards in the county to promote equity and cohesiveness.
Mimi nimejitokeza, niko tayari. Na mnajua ya kwamba uongozi inatoka kwa Mungu. Mniweke kwa maombi, tunataka hii Trans Nzoia yetu to reclaim the lost glory. We want to make Trans Nzoia great again. Absolutely. We want to make Trans Nzoia as a small Kenya to include all the 43 tribes of this country.
The MP recently had a similar session with the Marakwet community at former Inspector General of Police David Kimayo's homestead in Cherangani Sub-County, where he received a backing. The race has attracted a number of candidates, among them Kakai Bissau, who works in the Deputy President's office, Philemon Samoy, a disaster management expert and a peace crusader, and Abraham Singoe, who is a legal officer in the Deputy President's office. Boniface Barasa, TV47, Trans Nzoia County.
Now, the World Health Organization expects Europe to see a rise in the daily number of COVID-19 deaths in October and November. Now, this is according to the head of the body's European branch. Now, WHO Europe Director Hans Klug spoke as the continent currently experiences a surge of cases, though the number of deaths has remained relatively stable. The resurgence is, however, expected to lead to an increase in daily deaths.
In this, it's going to get more tough. In October, in November, we're going to see more mortality. It's a moment that the countries don't want to hear this bad news, and I understand. But I think it's very important that this is going to finish at one moment or another. This is not the end of the world. It's not the vaccine. People, I hear the whole time, the vaccine is going to be the end of the pandemic. Of course not. We don't even know if the vaccine is going to help to all population groups. Some signs we get now is that it will help for one group and not for the other. And then if you have to work with different vaccines, what a logistical nightmare. Is the moment that we as a community are going to learn how to live with this pandemic. And it depends on us. And that's a very positive message, that the most cost-effective way whether to tackle COVID or any disease and prevention is to strengthen your primary health care. I mean, in some countries, 80% of what's happening in emergency departments, can be tackled by your family doctor or your nurse, community nurse.
Now let's take a look at the sports news. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's superb